Greetings, everyone. Happy December 2020. Just a little topic today on what happens when your system is no longer working. So, if in the summer, fall season, you start a new program, things get going, things get rolling, hopefully making some gains, making some progress. And then we hit a point where sometimes it just gets a little bit harder to get out of bed, to make your workouts. Maybe we start cheating a little bit on the odd meal. This is all pretty normal stuff, pretty common stuff, and you will encounter this within the first 3 months or so. Going to the 3 to 6 month or longer period where this is a long game. This is a process that is going to go through upgrades and evolutions and things like that. So today I'm going to share 3 points with regards to when you feel like your system is not working. So why, what do you do, and what are some of the actions you can take? So the first reason I believe that our system might not be working is we might not have been aware of it, but we might have just messed with the system. So take a moment to reflect on what you've been doing in the last maybe couple of weeks and go, have I been doing what I was doing before when this was working really well? Because when we go through a process like this, changing our lifestyle, really optimizing our health, really making changes in the things that we find important in our lives, we're gonna go through some internal shifts and changes, and before we know it, the old version of ourselves creeps back in to slow things down, put on the brakes, or whatever it is. Sometimes there's fears, there's discomfort, there's noticing of something different. That's pretty normal. So I call it the 1.0 version of you is creeping back in to prevent the 2.0 version from coming out. So we may not have noticed it, but we might have been messing with our program. So first thing to do is to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for falling off the path a little bit or deviating a little bit. That's totally natural. It's not entirely your fault because sometimes it's a subconscious thing. We're not entirely aware of it when we start slipping on things and stuff until we notice it happening often enough that it starts to make a difference. And remember that it's a process. It's not a quick fix. It's not an overnight success type situation. This is a process that's going to encounter ups and downs and great moments and dark moments and interesting times, but eventually things will level off and continue trending in the right direction as long as we stay focused on our vision. Okay, so that's the first thing. We may have just messed with the system. That's why it's not working. The second reason is what you needed before might have just changed. So for example, when someone starts a program, what they might need is just to get to the gym. They just might need accountability. They just might need, look, just show up, hang out at the gym for 15 minutes and do nothing and then go home. That might be a win at first, right? That's the need, is just to carve out the time, choose yourself first, and just make it consistent. After about 2 weeks of that, you'll realize that that's no longer the only thing you need. What you need now is to actually decide what you're going to do when you get there and be more specific on what your efforts are going to be. So what you needed before, maybe 3 months ago, has changed because you've progressed, you've moved forward. It could be right now, changing of the seasons. We're going to December now. It's more of the yin energy time of year where you kind of want to snuggle by the fire sort of thing, go introspective. That is also a natural state or a natural way of being. So the time of year might change as far as what we might need. Your level of conditioning and your level of adaptation to your program has changed. So what you require, when a 1 mile walk seemed like a lot, now you're running 3 miles. So So it's a matter of just looking at what is required to bring you to the next level. And in this process, when we get going, we have actually opened a porthole, you know? So at the very beginning, again, when just showing up at the gym or showing up to do your stretching or whatever was the big win. Now that your body is awakening, your mind is clearing, you're opening up a porthole to some new ideas, some higher levels of optimism, some inspiration, things that you want to get into, because now you have the energetic resources and the imagination and the clarity to do something more, to contribute more, to create more, whatever it is. So right now, what you are needing next is whatever that thing is, that's the addition to what you've accomplished so far. So that's the second one, is what you need, what you needed before is now changed. The third thing would be, in addition to the second one, is it may be time for an upgrade. So systems that were working before may not necessarily need to be completely reconstructed, but just upgraded. So I usually ask a few questions. So one is, what has been working and what is still working right now in your routines, in your systems, in your programs or workouts, the stuff you're reading? What is working right now? What is not working, or what is no longer working, or is no longer as effective? So make a list of those things as well. And then the third thing would be, what is now, required to up level more? So first of all, you want to revisit kind of where you want to go next, like in the next 3 months or in the next year or so. But what is required? What do you need now? What do you need next? Maybe some people have not even been working with a coach or somebody yet, and maybe that might be the time to have that first conversation. Or maybe you've been doing this by yourself for a while, and it might be time to bring more people in and share in this journey with others. So there's a lot of different ways that you can upgrade the experience you're having to continue producing results and enjoying what you're getting from this process. So the third thing is, it might be time for an upgrade. So these are all things that I'm constantly working on with people that I'm coaching, reevaluating, checking in on how things are going, what they're needing, and what's the next action step, if there is. For me, just kind of what's changed recently is my summer routine of getting up at 5:30 in the morning and walking early with the dog and being outside and stuff has changed to a slightly later start in the morning, with more of a gentler start, with meditation and stuff, and taking in more content, maybe reading podcasts or whatever prior to starting my day, and getting outside a little bit later in the day when there's more daylight, because the sun is rising later and setting sooner. So I'm trying to get more use of the daytime, even though now that our days are shorter. So the bonus tip is that if you're in this particular climate, which is, we have a 4-season climate in Ontario, is remember that it's December, and it's that time of the year where things are shifting and changing and going introspective, like I mentioned before. So you can make a slight adjustment, not completely throw your program out, but make a slight adjustment that'll work with the situation now. So I have a treadmill here. I've imagined I'll start doing some of my walks indoors, depending on if the weather is really bad outside. So there's a lot of different things that we could do to just kind of adjust a little bit, but not completely axe the whole program. It's just a little bit of a adaptation, deviation, modification of what's already working. So those are 3 things. So you might have messed with it unknowingly. 2, what you needed before is now changed. And 3, it may be time for an upgrade or an adaptation to what was working before. So I hope this resonates. I hope this helps. If you are out there and your program is kind of leveling off or getting stale, by all means reach out. Or just remember that there's usually reasons why things level off, and it's actually a quite natural part of the process. So enjoy, keep going, get what you need, involve other people, tell people what you're up to, and always keep learning and growing and stay inspired. Take care.